information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Welcome to episode 302 of the HMBT podcast. Today, I'm sitting with Victor Julio Coupe. He is the head of business development at Kensho Media and also the host of the Squared Table podcast, which I was recently on, and we had a great discussion. And I thought, why not bring him on here and let's talk about 2026. Starting off, Happy New Year, Victor, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. It's an honor. Nothing else to add.
I ended like 2025 with a lot of talks at conferences or attending conferences where everyone's talking about email marketing and how important that is. And you need to make sure you have your authentication set up and frequency. I think that's great, a great way to end the year to think about how you need to set that up in 2026. Because for me, email marketing is a crucial tool to use. But I want to pick your brain today. It's 2026. I think, nurturing is an aspect of email marketing, but I think everyone is saying now, oh, I hit the reset button. It's 2026. I need to sell more, market more. I need more eyeballs. I need more leads. I need to get these people to nurture. So let's talk about what does selling or what does sales look like in 2026, which I know you know a lot about.
Perfect. Perfect. Great question. Thank you so much about it. Look, when I started sales in 2019, I was in São Paulo, Brazil, working for a SaaS company at the time. I had no idea what SaaS even was. And that's when I started doing outreach, doing email outreach. At the time, of course, no AIs, no scores about how short or how long your email is, no tools to help you verify such emails. If it bounced, it bounced. No one was telling you beforehand if it was gonna even bounce. And then 6 years later, here we are talking about so many different tools, tasks, opportunities, things that you can do to make sure that the outreach system works. For me, for example, I work in the iGaming industry, the casinos, the bettings, the games that are all there to make sure that the players are spending their hard-earned money. And email here works in two different ways. You have to see yourself as a company within the B2B scope and the B2C one. What I'm talking about here is a casino, if they are a casino themselves, of course they are B2C. They want to send emails to Victor and to Hank to make sure that Victor and Hank will reply, will deposit, will get their bonus and whatever. But the B2B side of things is where I'm working the most out of it all because I'm a sales guy and I want to make sure that I provide my services to other businesses. So here I am reaching them out through email, through LinkedIn. I don't do phone calls, for example. I tried last year doing cold calling. And it's something that I understand by reading and researching and talking that it's something that works better in the USA. I wouldn't be able to tell you why, but it does not work here in Europe at all. At all. Like Hank, I had moments where I was shivering and I was losing my sleep because my nightmares were about me picking up the phone, calling people and getting bashed over on the other side. So email came back to me as an alternative, not an alternative, as a solution, mind you. Because if we talk about phone calls, the other side doesn't know who you are. That's a problem. If we talk about LinkedIn DMs, yes, that also works a lot for me. I like it very much. But an issue in my market is the oversaturation of LinkedIn messages. You have so many sellers reaching out to the same ICP, providing very similar services or products. And not only that, I even learned this recently. Some of them are not even doing the research anymore. They just shoot. So for example, next week, this video, I don't know when it's going to go live, maybe prior to ICE Barcelona, maybe after, but there is an event next week called ICE Barcelona for iGaming people. And I'm daily receiving emails where people are offering me casino solutions, payment solutions, crypto solutions. Guys, if you go to my LinkedIn, my LinkedIn screams that I work at an agency. right? And I'm still getting emails out of these people. So, what I'm bringing here to the table is I don't believe we can talk about email outreach or LinkedIn outreach without talking about building the list first. And that's such a crucial part of my strategy. Is the one where I spend most of my time with. And it kind of gets me crazy when I see that this is not being standard over on the market. Email is such a, it sets yourself in our episode. Email is the only channel you have control of because paid ads, you don't have control. As I said, cold calling, you don't have control. So many things you don't. And then email, you do. But what I'm seeing at the same time is people are not valuing the channel. No, maybe because for so many years email has been around and it has been oversaturated. It came back again and it was replaced by a newer system, but then the newer system didn't work out. So let's go back to email. People are always going to be coming back to email. It's always going to be the channel they're going to be coming back to. Um, and in 2026, in this AI era, this is my stance only. What I believe is going to happen, and would love your opinion about it as well, is since most of the connections nowadays are false, are generated, those that send out personalized, I'm not saying long with a PDF and image, no, but at least personalized in a way where you can see it's not AI, will get higher chances of being replied back to. I'm
Mhm.
not saying this is a formula, I'm not saying this is the data that I'm seeing, but think about it. You have 10 emails in your inbox. Nine out of these 10 emails have in our market, dear sir, or hey, and then Victor all caps lock. Or when I see my full name, Victor Julio Coupe, I know it's an automation. Like nobody uses the full name to reach out to people. So there are so many telltale signs right now of what AI generated over on email that for 2026, in a world where we have people not embracing AI, fighting against it, putting on their LinkedIn that they are not AI slobs, as they say. If you do the opposite and spend some time preparing yourself for the email campaign, I believe in our market, in our iGaming market, that this can be a differentiator, a good one,
Mhm.
when compared to, hey, let me just grab here 1,000 email addresses and send them the same pitch. I don't think that works anymore. And that's why it's so important, for example, having tools like Kickbox showing us what's working and what's not in the campaign so that we can proactively decide. But the era of scalability and scaling emails just because you can, I don't think it's going to work anymore for the foreseeable future, again, in my market.
Right. It's a lot to unpack there. First, phone calls. Yeah, they don't work anymore. I remember working in an office where we had a full sales team that were doing cold calling, and it worked. And that was back with the old voicemails. Now the cell phones are, asking, "Who are you and why are you calling this person?"
Yeah,
And they get to decide. And it's mostly cell phones. It's hardly anybody has a desk phone anymore, or
hardly.
or an office line. And it's what I want to get to, even in the inbox in LinkedIn, you mentioned the word saturation. I think it's like an invasion of personal space, is what it's
Perfect.
starting to feel like, just because so many people are doing it wrong. Where I feel like, and I just kind of thought about it when you were speaking, it was like an idea, a genius moment, more inbound marketing, but not the way that we've been taught it in the past. I think we need to generate interest for who we are, what we do, what we offer, but also, like you mentioned, reaching out to people before we started recording. You're going to a conference and you're reaching out to people that you know will be there, and you're sending them video emails in LinkedIn, which is
Yeah,
genius, by the way. And the message could be, "Hey, I'm attending. Love to meet up, grab a coffee, a drink, or something, or maybe hopefully see you in the hallways, and we can grab a cookie or something. What I'd like to do is talk about what you do, learn about what you do, and see if our solution matters. And maybe it doesn't, but maybe you know somebody that will be able to use our product or service." I think that's another way, is people forget about what's called an adjacent audience. You're not selling to one specific person because you don't know if they're a fit, but you can have that person be someone that refers people to you. And I don't have the answer as to what is the silver bullet. There is none, but what are some tactics, strategies, and things you can do to get that inbound interest in you as a person or your business. And that's the code that you and I hopefully maybe we can crack on this podcast and we'll become
Oh
rich.
yeah, well, talk about it now. So when I let's come back to 2019 because again, I think the parallels between then and now are huge, and we should talk about how much it has changed. At that time, personal branding wasn't even a term. It wasn't the word of the year, for example. Nobody. I remember clear as day. Nobody had any interest in growing their personal branding, putting their face. They wanted to grow the business brand. They wanted to grow Kickbox. They wanted to grow Kensho Media. But now, even talking about the same things of AI and scalability and people being tired of it all, doing the opposite, in my opinion, is working a little bit better. Let's talk about the emails I was sending. The video, you corrected. The video was hi, very energetic, very smiley and everything else. Hi, I'm Victor. I'm coming to ICE next week. I know that you're going to be attending the event, looking for some alternatives. So in my case, why I'm reaching out is because of X and Y and Z. Why don't we grab a coffee, 5 minutes over at ICE? If this doesn't make sense, I won't be a prick to you. I won't be spamming your inbox. I'm just grateful that you listened to me for 5 minutes. So I started seeing more and more about people appreciating the human level of the communication, the human side of it all, right? So personal branding, I have to be on LinkedIn recording videos. I have to be on YouTube doing podcasts. I have to be on events shaking hands, putting a smile so that a month from now, maybe, let's even talk about a little bit less, 2 weeks from now, once I email Hank that I met at ICE and I had a nice chat with him, the odds of him replying back are bigger because he liked Victor. You see, we as professionals have always been taught to follow the number, to take a look at the numbers, and hasn't changed. But what I'm saying right now is, besides looking at the number, make sure that you are showcasing yourself as a human being, not as an avatar. We have avatars now, so I can just deploy an avatar and start talking to people, but they will understand it's not
Yeah.
Victor. Um, it's not about sending, huge letter emails talking about the prizes and awards that you got as a company and how everybody trusts you and then you name drop big companies, how Amazon works with you. Hank, in my opinion, everybody works with Amazon. Everybody works with Microsoft. I have a Microsoft subscription. I can say that I work with them. So don't talk about that. Don't talk about the awards. Don't talk about how good you are as a tool, as a professional, as a service, whatever. But instead, and this is not new, of course, the focus on the customer is indeed a good path, in my opinion. Because if I come and I say, hey, Hank, I know the Kickbox lately has grew 20% because of their acquisition. It already shows that I'm more invested into that conversation. So you take all of this into consideration. You put this prior to sending the email. You do the research, you go to LinkedIn, you have your personal branding, you put yourself in videos, you make sure that people can reach you because that's important. I don't remember who I've read it from, but it's not about posting on LinkedIn. It's about posting and commenting and replying. Because if you only post just to show that you're there, and then Hank, your friend, comes and say, "Hey, Victor, amazing post," and you say nothing, and you don't like it, you don't comment back. What's the purpose? Yeah, I'm gonna sound like a prick if I do that. Like he is not a people's guy. He just want the engagement rates. He doesn't want the true. He wants the numeric algorithm engagement rate, not the true real life engagement rate. And in my opinion, we should go for the real life engagement rate. This is crazy how it's all clicking in my mind after spending years growing and listening back in Brazil, that those who know other people are the ones who mostly get it out of life. This is true. I thought for some years that it was just old strategies. No, 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 no,
Mhm.
no, no. It's right now. People decide who they want to follow. They don't decide on their families, but they decide on who they want to follow. So you have to be a good one so that they keep on following. And then once your email lands, it's gonna be wow.
That's right.
Victor is here in my inbox. That's crazy. That's great. Hey, so you see, whenever we're going to be talking about this, about emails, about personal branding, it all works together. It's all a part of the same journey that we have as salespeople, as marketeers. And people should start understanding that even better. The
Right.
360 part of thing, it can be a marketing jargon. Oh, my marketing effort is 360. It should be. It should be.
Mhm.
It should be about starting on LinkedIn with the personal branding, going to YouTube for a video, emailing people once they see this, and you have tools to show who saw it, emailing them saying, hey, I know you're interested in SEO. Why don't we talk? Way better than sending, random emails. Hi, I'm Victor. I work with SEO and I have amazing links for you. Here's my offering. Why don't you come back? And I promise you that you will love working with me. Thank you. No, nobody will reply to that anymore.
Right.
It's a pity. It's a pity that we have to take into consideration all the time
Mhm.
that we have to build a personal branding because sometimes you just want to relax, but you put yourselves in that shoe of being professional, right? So there's also you have also to take into consideration who you want to sell how you want to sell yourself. Do I want to sell the goofy, funny Brazilian Victor? Or do I want to sell the more professional, the guy who knows the data and everything else? For me, I'm selling the jokier one because it works.
It does.
Not telling people that they should be joke for or anything like that, but being an extrovert does work. Of course,
Oh
it's a
yeah.
natural side of things whenever you're talking about customer stuff. Um, if people don't get that in 2026, I don't see how they will be able to even be themselves in 2027. Right now, AI's all over the place, more quick information, easier for you to find the perfect supplier, the perfect product. If you don't understand that you should make a dent out of yourself and be somebody greater than just a person and just a brand, I don't see how you will achieve success next year or the following ones, if nothing changes, of course.
Yeah, I think there's been a push for years for even having leaders of organizations getting in front of
True.
cameras more, and it's still not a thing that's happening. But I want to go back to you were talking about branding, and then we also talked about conferences. One thing that really irks me, and some people may agree or not, this is polarizing. If you can obtain a list of people that are going to a conference, or if you are sponsored and you get that list, and you have not had any kind of brand recognition get in front of them. Like they don't know who your brand is. They don't know who Hank Hoffmeyer is, let's say. And I'm doing cold email to them. I highly discourage that right now. There's going to be some people that say we do it all the
And
time,
I'm with you.
but most people will do that and they're going to damage their sender reputation, which is something I've covered in so many episodes. Go back and listen to those. But I think that if you're a conference organizer, you need to listen up, or if you know a conference organizer, send this episode to them. I think they do a decent job promoting the shows, right? What like some could do a little bit better, and I think that's why some conferences are dying. But maybe here's an idea. Allow people that sponsor the conference, or even somebody that is not sponsoring but wants to get in front of your audience. It can be a new revenue channel for you conference organizers. Allow the ability for Victor and Hank, or Victor and Hank together, to do a video explaining what you do and
Oh,
offer to have a conversation, whether it's on a Zoom
perfect.
meeting, in person, however that might work out. I haven't figured that out, but be it like a little commercial, but a branding commercial where we can either be funny or serious and offer to get in front of people, because then there's that brand recognition in front of them. They may see our face, then they see us in the conference, in the hallway, and they stop. Hey, I saw a video of you. Or somebody might actually book a call to learn because, like we mentioned, we want inbound conversations. Somebody might see the video and say, hey, I do need some marketing help. Hey, I do need to verify some email addresses. Maybe I do need to have a chat with Hank or Victor. I think that's a great opportunity for conferences to kind of really get with the times and stop doing things from like 2010, right, or 2012 and get to 2026. I think that's a great way. And I think doing these
Yeah.
personalized videos, have you ever heard of Bonjoro? That's an app I use that I used to do text to enter my newsletter at conferences on my last screen. And then when that was over, it was a lot of work. I would open Bonjoro, I would have a list of people who texted and signed up, and I
That's
would do a
nice.
personalized video for everybody, and Bonjoro would send that out via email, right? They opted in. I did a video.
That's
I
very
sent
nice.
it to them and I got replies from them and I had conversations and I've built some great network opportunities out of using the video. And I think that's a huge message, right? Is do more video, I think, from what we're saying.
And for those watching, listening to us right now, me and Hank, met each other through videos, right? I added you on LinkedIn. You replied back saying, "Hey, why don't we talk?" We talked over the Zoom meeting. You went to the square table. Now here I am. We never saw each other in person. I have no idea of your height. For this is something funny. Usually people who only see each other in videos, the first thing they say is, "Oh, Victor, you're taller than I suppose you would be." Or, "Oh, you're shorter than you are supposed you would be." This is the funny stuff to do. One of our friends, Hank Wolf, he says that his entire sales machine is inbound. And then you might be asking, or you might be saying to yourself, "Oh, that's a lie. He's lying. He just want to sell his courses." No, you see, Hank put everything that we were just talking about in practice. He has been building his personal branding for years. He goes to events, he put his faces, he posts a lot of things on LinkedIn that you would think twice before posting, but they are the ones that get him the traffic. And even to this day, he's telling me, "Victor, I'm coming to ICE only to see my friends. I'm not going to be there outreaching to booths," because he already has the personal branding side of things covered. You see,
Yeah.
we have real life examples.
Make sure to
Uh,
check out the Hank and Hank show, which is the title of that episode. I had Hank on the
nice,
podcast, and that was a great conversation.
nice. There you go. So you see, if we are, of course, whenever we are talking about email in sales purposes, it will always differ according to what the other side does. If I am a SaaS product, email works differently than it works for me, Victor, at Kensho Media. If I am a retailer, it works different. If I'm an organizer, it works differently. But overall, I wouldn't ever change my strategy about the content, about the personal branding side of things, about the preparation. As you said so yourself, so many emails get into our inboxes, and usually they have a Gmail domain. If
Mm.
they don't, the website is not connected to the email. And I know this happens because of domain reputation. I understand. But if you are sending an email out of your website domain and you have no personal branding altogether, at least on the email, mention your website. Don't leave me hanging to go to Google and see that domain only to see it's a fake one or only to see that it doesn't exist. This will harm the experience for me as a user. I will think twice before replying back because it sounds scammy.
Yeah.
That's important, right? People need to understand that sometimes what they do can look like a scam. We don't want that. We don't want to look like a scam. So, what do we do? Do we follow the guru? Do we do short messages because shorter is better? Or do we go against the flow and do we do longer with more real life proof that you are someone that exists? So many different answers depending on the market, but they all come back to the same thing. In my opinion, 2026, your email can land, can go through the firewall, can be even here in my monitor right now. If you don't add up to anything at all, if you're only talking about yourself, if I look up for you on LinkedIn or on website and I find nothing, very hard for me to reply back, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it comes down to people are doing more and more investigation because of all of these phishing emails, scams, banking fraud, all these things. I get so many, and you'll probably relate to this. I get so many emails to my work email and to our, some of our role email addresses. I found some errors on your website. Can I send over some screenshots and a report so we could fix them for you? And I have no idea who this person is. They sign off with a name, sometimes no company name, no links to their website. Then they follow up like a week later. I haven't heard back from you on this. How important is this for you? And those are just garbage.
It's for me, this is what you said right now. Can we go politic here in in the show a little
We could
bit?
talk about whatever we want. I don't
Yeah, I'm not
really
gonna
have any
cite
rules.
any. Awesome. I'm not gonna cite any politicians. It's not what I mean. Um, Talking about the SEO market, for example, SEO has one service called link building, which is, for those who don't know, acquiring a piece of an article or an article itself in somebody else's website. So let's pretend I'm Victor and I am the owner of The House, which is a co working space. If I want to grow The House co working within Google, one of the practices is that I'm going to buy a piece of an article. I'm going to buy myself an entry to a blog that can talk about, for example, co working or professional services. So this is one of the main businesses in SEO, link building. Why am I talking about it? Link building has zero production cost. You only need to put your time into sending emails to bloggers and telling them, hey, I'm a link reseller. Can I add your blog into my portfolio? Yeah, sure. Thank you. That's it. That's the cost. Now, with that into consideration, you have zero cost and you have a nice margin, let's just say. Naturally, this is going to bring tons of new people to start working in this market because the friction to get into is non-existent, basically. That's what they think. And that's what we have been talking about. At the moment that I open my LinkedIn and I see 10 different messages, all selling links to me with the same pitch, with the same even counter argument, with the same tonality, with the same offer, what's going to happen? Of course, I'm not going to reply to any of them. I do reply because I believe in karma. And I think that if I reply back to their outreach, people are going to reply back to my outreach. So I reply, but I understand those that don't. Because you have so many and no differentiator. And we're not even talking about email anymore, but talking about the message. Could be through the phone, WhatsApp, Telegram, LinkedIn, email, the message. In such an overcrowded market, which is the link building one in SEO, is allowing a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of less fortunate people, financial wise, to get into the market. And what does this comes with? Digital maturity and digital accessibility won't work well without education. You can't give, you can't hope to give people a room to talk without educating them first on what you should talk. Otherwise, you get people talking about, the German history in the Second World War as if it was the most beautiful thing ever. You're going to see people talking about politics in the way that we have right now. But if you don't understand that you're getting pitched in quantity because there is an economical problem in the world that are making people pitch you, you will never understand exactly their pain and what is happening over there. So now that I understand this, and I understand that most of the link building resellers that reach out to me are just desperate for a sales, at least I reply back telling no, because then they can push their energy somewhere else.
How many
You see,
times do you
it's
regret that?
yeah, you see, that's a good question because I
I've done
reply
that
back
on
with the
LinkedIn where I replied, no thanks, not interested, and they just keep
and
asking questions.
and then it's some people they just start playing victim cards after you say no, and they start saying like your life will change. Please, I beg. They use the terms. I beg you, give me one chance. This is the stuff that I used to tell girls when I was 15 years old and I wanted to kiss them. This is how I will. Please, one kiss only. That's all I'm asking. It's kind of the same, and this is a letdown. But then again, you have to reconsider yourself and rethink about who they are. They are in an awful environment right now. They are selling a super commoditized service, which is link building. You're never not going to be receiving messages from them. Never. It's unfortunate, a state of the market we are in. And then you can apply link building to the market that you listening to us right now work with. But that's the world right now. And then these people, these ones that are outreaching like this, we were talking right now about personal branding. They lack even branding at all.
Yeah.
They lack everything. So they are not going to push through the noise. They're not going to break the wall. They're not going to break the firewall. They can, but they're not going to break your keyboard wall of replying back to them if they don't show who they are. That's so important. And that's what people should focus.
Yeah. And I think with the introduction of these AI tools and how they're getting so good and it can create avatars, they can create great email messages. I think we're going to see more and more. We talk about AI, you hear about AI slop, in your feed on
Yeah,
Instagram and TikTok. I think it's going to start making its way to B2B and B2C sales, where it's just
agree.
going to be cutting through the noise. And if you can be different, rather than creating, say, a polished business video with your CEO wearing a tie, Whereas maybe it's your CEO wearing a t-shirt with something cool on it that references your brand, and they're a little bit more down to earth and like a coffee shop rather than in the boardroom. That's going to go over well. I think that we discussed so many great things today around sales, but what would be your biggest piece of advice if somebody wants to start, grow, or, get their business going a little bit better than it did last year?
Okay, okay, this is a great one. Can I talk a little bit about, can I add some background before my answer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. So during COVID, I was still living in Brazil and I was bored, naturally, like so many of us. And Brazil didn't, especially at the president at the time, we didn't have a lot of health campaigns or mindfulness campaigns about staying at home. So I did the unthinkable and I started searching for a job on Saturdays because I was already working remote from Monday to Friday, and I wanted to get out of my house. So I was following at the time a lot of back in Brazil. We have this since Apple products are so expensive because of taxes. We have a huge gray market of suppliers from these Apple products that come from China, from Paraguay without taxes. So it's illegal. Saying this out loud. And I worked in this market. Hey, I sold so many iPhones like this, and it was a blast. I had the joy, the biggest joy of my life was selling iPhones. And this we're talking about 2021, 2022, so like 4 years ago. But then I built my own store because I wanted to do it myself. So I created Lithium. Lithium was a Apple product store which sold iPhone products. And I started doing branding. I started with a website. I bought a domain. I registered the domain. I did it all so that the branding side of Lithium was better than the rest of my competition. And it worked, Hank. It worked. You see, I was coming to events in person and I was presenting people as Victor from Lithium. Some of them already knew who I was. Some of them were already following the page. Some of them had a friend who already bought it and loved the customer experience. So why am I saying all of this? It's a competitive market with a product that you don't have a advantage on. You sell the same iPhone 17 Pro Max than store ABC sells. It's the same, right?
Mhm.
So how can you cross the barrier of not selling to start selling a lot? In my opinion, circling back to the entire conversation, personal branding. If I didn't build myself as a nerd, as Victor the nerd who likes to talk about iPhones, who likes to talk about tech and gadgets, the sale themselves wouldn't be as easy as it was because I was selling with passion. And then you can say, I can't believe I just lost 20 minutes listening to this guy talking about passion. It's a huge privilege, it is. And that's why the question you asked me has different answers depending on how you see the world. Because for me, Hank, my life as a sales guy is easy because I'm white, because my hair looks good, because my teeth is kind of white as well. Not as yours. Yours is great. Congratulations. But it's easy to sell when you are presentable to society. Super easy. Put myself in the opposite of this spectrum, which is the biggest population that we have, the biggest number of population that we have. What can I tell these people? Can I tell them, hey, start recording now yourself and you're going to do great? If their house, for example, has no white wall, they even barely have lighting. So what else can I say? Okay, so even said to yourself, put your CEO in a shirt. Does it fit the market? If I am in Africa, and we know this is not anything at all besides the truth, we know that Africa is not a place for blue collars. Should I put my CEO in a blue collar situation where he's wearing a tuxedo and he's presenting himself? Or, and that's where I think there is an opportunity, should I humanize my CEO and my brand and show them the real CEO? The guy with slappers, the guys with a short, the guys with a flower t shirt. It has to stop being about the face and the skin of the person. Not talking about skin in regards to race, the skin like Fortnite. It has to be less about the skin of the character and more about what the character represents and does and says. Because I can be the most handsome guy in the world. If I'm selling, I don't know, fake crypto casino stuff over to my audience in 2 to 3 months, everybody will know that I'm a scam. So yeah, coming to the question and closing this up. 2026, I want to make sure that I do a little bit better in sales. Yeah, it's January. You can start doing videos right now. If you can't, because you live in a market where it just doesn't work, or you are ashamed of yourself, and I was ashamed of myself for so many years. That's normal. We are human beings. Yeah, try and deconstruct yourself to be more camera wide open. Even though I understand that not everybody's camera ready, even though I understand that not everybody wants to be on camera, I am seeing better results from those that are going on camera. It is not ideal. Everybody should have the same possibilities, the same doors to be open. Since we live in a world where it's nothing is fair, we need to understand the game. And the game right now is those that speak looking right here and putting themselves out there are getting better deals than those who are not. That's a fact. With that all said, adjust, adapt, see what you can do. If you can't now record yourself, okay, maybe you should start doing something else. Maybe you should start posting words. Start with words, then go with selfies, go with images. Then, oh wow, this is getting nice. Let me get myself over on camera. Go to podcasts. Try somebody else's podcast. Be a guest. See how it works. And I telling all of this 100% understand that it is a privilege for me to be somebody easy to talk to. So, I understand that it's not replicate what Victor and Hank are. I understand it's not about it. But put yourself 1% more effort into showing your face, I believe can do wonders in the long run.
I agree. I think the biggest takeaway is to build a relatable, personal brand, even if it has to be a darkly lit room because maybe you feel like you're not the best on camera. You
And then
start
you can be the
there, and
Batman,
then,
the
you know,
SEO Batman,
yeah, you get over it, and then you just create more. And I think we have a show title, One Kiss Only. I love that statement.
Oh, yeah. One kiss. I'm begging for one kiss only. That's it. And if you beg for that kiss with a better presentation of yourself, the chances of the kiss coming are very high, right?
Right.
In comparison to just arriving at, look, I know we have a little bit time, but it's so much like real life. Hank, if I'm at a bar and I'm a quiet guy and I have nothing to add to a conversation, what are the odds that I'm going to get the kiss over at somebody who has that stuff? So
Mhm.
it's not about, oh, I can't have personal branding. It's about, okay, I don't have one now, but I need to start building one ASAP. And building one, if you don't have it right now, should be your main goal for 2026, in my opinion.
If you don't ask for the kiss, you can't get the conversion.
There you go. There you go.
Let's tell
That's it.
folks how to learn more about you, Kensho Media, the Square
Oh,
Table
yes.
podcast. Tell us about it.
Yes. Look, Kensho Media is an SEO agency working with iGaming companies since 2008. You can find us on LinkedIn at Kensho Media. You can find me at VJ Coupe is my like username in all social medias. I made sure to build a personal branding which is connected. And of course, you can get in touch through the website. There are so many ways. As I said, I love talking. If you hit me with a DM on LinkedIn showing that you care 1% about my life, you're going to get a conversation out of me and from a lot of other people as well.
All right. I'll have links in the show notes, folks. And don't forget to
Thank
get
you.
your 1,000 free Kickbox verification credits using the
Yeah,
code
that's a good one.
HMBT. It's more than you'll get. Actually, it's like 1,000% more than you'll get for free when you sign up. Check that out. And I think this was a great conversation.
And
And
thank
let's
you.
give our kisses goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hank.